Chapter 149. Being a Good Person. Seeing Ava, Dr. Foster very consciously gave up his spot. Staying here would only mean getting smeared. Better to slip away quickly before these two both threw mud at him. Adrian. Ava walked to the bedside and sat down, taking Adrian's hand. Do your wounds hurt a lot? Hearing this, Adrian immediately furrowed his brow in pain. They hurt so much. I'll call Dr. Foster back. Ava immediately started to get up, but Adrian pulled her back. Why weren't you at the hospital with me? When I woke up and didn't see you, my wounds hurt like hell. The man's words carried a hint of grievance. I went home for a bit. She'd just gotten off the plane when she received Dr. Foster's message saying Adrian had woken up, was going to kill him, and she needed to hurry to the hospital. She hadn't even had time to go home before coming to the hospital. She still hadn't processed what she'd seen at that house in France. Ava didn't plan to tell Adrian right now that she'd gone to France and learned about those things. She was too tired now. She'd find time to slowly process it later. Adrian's gaze swept over Ava's weary face and slightly disheveled hair. Darkness flashed in his eyes, but ultimately he said nothing. He gripped Ava's hand tightly. Stay here with me. When you're not here, I can't sleep. Okay. Ava lowered her head and kissed Adrian's lips. I'll be here. Sleep now. Dr. Foster had told her Adrian had woken at dawn. He wouldn't sleep, and he wouldn't let Dr. Foster sleep either. The two had sat in the hospital room for a full 10 hours. I can't sleep? Adrian raised his hand and pointed at his lips. You haven't kissed me in so long. Nonsense. I just kissed you. Ava glanced at Adrian reproachfully. His ability to lie with his eyes open was getting better and better. I mean, before today. Adrian looked completely matter-of-fact. Thinking about it, Ava actually found Adrian's words quite reasonable. She'd been hospitalized for half a month. Adrian had been in a coma for over half a month. One more kiss, and then you sleep. Ava held up her index finger, softening her voice like coaxing a child. Before, when Adrian was sick and didn't like getting shots, she always had to kiss him before he'd agree to the injection. After all these years, he was still the same. A strange thought suddenly arose in Ava's mind. During the 6 years she hadn't returned to the country, Adrian's time seemed to have stopped. She felt this inexplicable thought was rather absurd, until Adrian called her name and she smiled, kissing him again. This time she didn't pull away so quickly. She simply pressed her lips lightly against his, feeling that rare peace. The heavy stone that had pressed on her heart for years suddenly seemed to have been lifted, leaving her feeling incredibly light. Adrian's mouth was really tight. If she'd known from the start that Adrian didn't like her because of a life-saving debt, she might not have thought to run far away to university, distancing herself from Adrian and breaking up with him. But as Dr. Foster said, if Adrian could say it out loud, he wouldn't be Adrian. Like Grace, having a mouth but not knowing how to use it. Tighter than a duck's mouth, dead for 10 days. After Adrian fell asleep, Ava finally freed her hand to get her phone. She hadn't looked at her phone during this time. When she took it out today, the messages had exploded, all asking about her condition. After flying for 2 days straight, she had no energy to reply one by one, so she simply posted on social media to report she was safe. The moment she posted, messages from Ian and Owen came in almost simultaneously. What surprised her was that Samuel had also sent a message. She even wondered if Ian had forced Samuel to send it. Ava looked down at the sleeping Adrian. He held her hand against his chest, his brow slightly furrowed. He wasn't sleeping very peacefully. She suddenly felt a bit embarrassed to continue keeping backup options. Ava turned off her phone and put it in her pocket, then leaned down on the edge of the bed, her face pressed against the sheets, her gaze falling on Adrian's face. Since they were married, they should be together properly. Adrian's suffocating, obsessive love. Probably only she could bear it, right? Then she'd be a good person and not let him out to harm other girls. A faint smile touched Ava's lips. She lay there for a while, her eyelids growing heavy, and unknowingly fell asleep. She woke again to the sound of a door being roughly opened. Adrian Pierce, now you're not even giving me money? Stella Pierce stormed in from the doorway. Ava sat up straight, her expression darkening. Shut up! Ava turned to check on Adrian, still asleep. She stood up, strode to Stella, and pushed her out, then closed the door. I'm asking my son for money. What business is it of yours? Contemptuous laughter hung in Stella's eyes. She hadn't even interfered with Adrian marrying this woman. Yet she was interfering with Adrian giving her living expenses. Didn't you see he just woke up from a car accident? Cold seeped into Ava's sweet, soft voice. When beating Adrian, she hadn't held back at all. Yet she still had the nerve to demand living expenses so righteously. "He's not dead, is he? Should I cry for him?" Stella scoffed. 2 car accidents and he still didn't die. Bastards really did have tough lives. When pregnant with Adrian, Edward hadn't let her abort. To miscarry, she'd even rolled down the stairs from the 2nd floor once. But even so, he'd remained safely in her belly, like a parasite. If you look down on him so much, don't use his money. Go find your husband and have him give it to you. Panic flashed in Stella's eyes. What business is it of yours? I carried him for 10 months and gave birth to him. He has an obligation to support me. Did you ever support him? Why should I support him? I'm not the one who wanted him born. If you keep making unreasonable demands here, I'll tell Adrian's father that you ask Adrian for living expenses every month to support your first love. Ava curved her lips, revealing a pure, flawless smile. What do you think Mr. Pierce would do to your first love if he knew you were still secretly involved with him behind his back? Ava shook her head and clicked her tongue twice. Probably couldn't keep his other leg either, right? How pitiful. I don't know what you're talking about. Despite her words, Stella still hurriedly turned and left. Her retreating figure looked very flustered.